Hello, welcome to the AJ Review Show. I want to start off with a big apology first of all to all of my loyal fans. This is not the angle that you have come to expect from me. Unfortunately, this evening the technology has decided to fail me, so we are shooting from a different angle on a completely different camera. So if I look better or worse, thank the camera, hopefully better. Another 3 films this week, episode 6. 3 different films from each other. 2 of them have an oddly strange link that I will point out, but the link is tenuous, but I found it and I hope you do too. 3 really enjoyable films though. 2 of them well under 2 hours long, which I love in a film. So without any more deliberation, let's get straight into it, the first film.
I know what you're thinking. You've come to the cinema to see a movie star. Bit of romance, leading man, dashing geezer with a chiseled jaw and a six-pack. Bit of Hugh Grant, touch of George Clooney, splash of Brad Pitt and a lot of Ryan Gosling. Pride and Prejudice, 4 weddings and a funeral, Room with a View, Bridget Jones's Diary, Love Actually. Well, fuck all that. I'm Danny Dyer, and this is Marching Powder.
Okay, so the first film you've just seen there is Marching Powder. So I don't really know of any other films that are just called after a drug. I guess cocaine there to some extent, but you know, there's another word there. Marching powder, if you didn't know, is a slang term for cocaine. So the film is about this character called Jack, played by Danny Dyer, who is given 6 weeks to try and reform his life. He gets nicked by the police. He goes out, he gets in a fight at football. He gets nicked by the police, and he's given 6 weeks by the judge to try and sort his life out. Obviously, things do not go to plan. There is an hour and 36-minute runtime, and if he got it right at the start, you know, the film would be pretty boring. His wife is played by Stefani Leonidas, which is probably the coolest second name ever. And she is his wife. She's fed up of his old tricks and his old ways, and she's trying to find the man that she fell in love with. His father-in-law is played by Jeff Bell, who you might know from Kingsman. It took me ages to get. He's in Kingsman. He plays Eggsy's mum. Sorry, Eggsy's mum's boyfriend. He does not play Eggsy's mum. He plays her boyfriend. He's also in Green Street and Rock and Roll. Like, you'd definitely recognise him. And so he's the dad of Stefani Leonidas, and he just wants complete rid of Jack. So there's some interesting characters in the film. Between the 3 of them, they're very enjoyable on stage. The first thing I really want to say about this film is it's very funny. It pokes a lot of fun at the current sort of commentary of the world and how things are at the moment and like woke culture. It basically the film makes jokes at just about everyone it can. It makes an Andrew Tate joke, it makes I think a Prince Harry joke at one point, and basically everyone in between. It is full of violence and drug misuse and a little bit of sex, but not really. It's a very original, and it's not scared to be what it is. I think they knew this film would not really appeal to the mass audiences. You know, it's not particularly happy. It's not like your spoon-fed Disney eco-friendly warrior film. It is uncomfortable to watch at times. But they knew that going in, and I think they've lent into it. It makes the film really enjoyable. To go a little bit deeper into the actual characters, Danny Dyer is very funny. They did actually have to look this up. I thought Danny Dyer had written the film. I just assumed he'd written it because of how it is. It seems like something that Danny Dyer would come up with, and his speech and the way everyone talks and the Cockney rhyming slang and there's so much bad language in it. I just assumed that Danny Dyer had written it. I think you would as well if you didn't know otherwise. If it's meant to feel like Danny Dyer has written it or his character Jack has written it, then it's very well done. His wife Danny, like I said, Stefani Leonidas, during the film gets caught up in a love triangle, and she's struggling to make the right choice throughout the film. She is enjoyable in her role. I wouldn't say there's anything particularly spectacular about what she does. She just plays along with the role nicely, and she's enjoyable to watch her. It's enjoyable to watch her try and pull the man that she loves back to reality throughout the course of the film. Jeff Bell He's also just a bit of a lunatic in the film. He's very similar to Danny Dyer's character. He just seems to have it together a little bit more. It's not really explained where his money comes from. Something about a scaffolding company and some businesses that he owns or some houses or whatever. But he is basically just a bit of a lunatic. And like I said, between the three of them, they're really good. I didn't look the name up, but the child actor in it was atrocious. I think he must be related to Danny Dyer. Not for any particular reason. I just can't see why they would cast him. There really aren't many good child actors, but he is a particularly poor one. So I would say none of the performances are particularly outstanding. There's nothing amazing about any three of them in the film, but it's enjoyable, and I like that they were ballsy enough to make this film. And one of the best things about the film is that the world it's telling about and the insight it's giving you, I think it is a very real insight into a world that a lot of people probably don't know about. You know, a world of people who can't get out of their drug habits, they can't seem to get a leg up in the world, they were sort of left and forgotten by society, and now they're not wanted in society anymore, you know. Danny Dyer's character speaks about it very briefly. He is not wanted in society anymore. The typical football hooligan who likes to go out and be with his mates, he's not wanted in society anymore, you know, this sort of tough guy act is not wanted in society anymore, so where are they supposed to go? And that was really enjoyable.
I'm a stain on society. No one wants my type around anymore.
There's quite a reasonable supporting cast again. I'm not going to tell you any names, but they're all play thugs and they add to the drama of the film. And like I said, it's an enjoyable film. I wouldn't say race to go and watch it. If you're from London or from the south, you're probably going to enjoy this film more. There's a couple of jabs at the north, which I particularly enjoyed. But I wouldn't particularly rush to go and watch this film. There's nothing overly amazing, like I say. The story is pretty minimal. I really despise the ending. The ending of the film, in my eyes, makes the whole film almost entirely pointless. So if you're someone who needs a conclusive ending for a film, I wouldn't recommend this particularly. It doesn't end in a satisfying way. I don't think it ends in a good way. It feels like one of those films that they get about halfway through and they're like, oh, we don't know how to end this. Let's just phone it in and hope for the best. So the ending's particularly poor, and I feel like I did throw away the film. But, you know, it's fun. If you don't take things too seriously, I think you'll enjoy this film. It's got plenty of bad language and funny humour in it. You know, it's a bit of a lad's film, really, if I'm honest. I would give it 3 stars. It's worth a watch if you don't take things too seriously, and you've got, you know, it's under 2 hours. It's an hour and 36 minutes. It's perfect if you just want to go and enjoy yourself and have a bit of a laugh and not take it too seriously. And that's Marching Powder.
What am I going to do while you're out?
What you normally do, wank and play FIFA.
Up next, we have...
Places, please. Places, please. This is your place's call for the final performance of the Razzle Dazzle.
And that was The Last Showgirl. Okay, so I didn't know anything about The Last Showgirl. I think that one of the best ways to go into films is not knowing things. If you have too many preconceptions and you go and it's not what you think it is, or it's better or it's worse, whatever, I think it can really skew your vision. I made that mistake with Dune 2. I think I set my expectations a little too high. Still loved it, but I think if you go in without knowing too much about the film, you're more likely to enjoy it. If you just experience it how the director wants to show you the film, I think you'd enjoy it a bit more. And that's exactly what I did with The Last Showgirl. I didn't know anything about it. I found out about half an hour before that Pamela Anderson was in the film. It's very, very good. It's moving. It's honest. It's not it's easy to watch in the sense that it's well made, but it's not easy to watch in the sense of like, oh, you can feel that there must be some reality in this for people. So to give you a little overview, the film is about this is a very famous show called The Razzle Dazzle in Las Vegas, and after 30 years, this film is coming to a close. Pamela Anderson's character is now middle-aged, and she has worked for the show since like the 80s. She's been there forever, but now the show's coming to an end, and her world is sort of coming to an end with it. She no longer knows her place in the world. She lives to be on the stage. She's sort of sacrificed everything to be where she is now, and it's crumbling down around her. There seems to be other avenues for her, but, you know, will she take them? Will she not? Will she listen to her friends, or will she just sort of continue being in the limelight in some sense? And that's That's where you get your film from. It's very, very good. So to start off with the most obvious, Pamela Anderson is incredible in this film. There were times during it that I really hated what she was doing. And if you've seen the film or you're going to watch the film, which I hope you do, there will be times that you watch it and think, you actually acted really badly there, or why did you do that? You shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that, or whatever. So there are times where her performance, though very good, her character is infuriating. And if you see the film or you watch the film or you're going to see the film, I think you'll agree with me. She's incredibly selfish at times, and her ignorance and arrogance are clearly what has got her to the position she is in. I'm not going to give too much away about the film. There are other elements of the film that I don't want to give away because I really think it adds to the performance and to the tension almost of the film. There's a lot of high stakes in it come the end, you know. As I said, the show is ending for her, and it's very clear that she's not going to let go of her fame and being in the centre stage easily. She's going to cling on to it for everything it's worth. So alongside Pamela Anderson, you have Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays Annette, who is like supposed to be the same age as her. She also used to dance on the same show, but she moved on and now she's like a cocktail waitress at a nearby casino or at the same casino. Between the two of them, they have a friendship, and it's very honest. They're sort of two single women, middle-aged, and they don't really have a whole lot else going for them outside of their jobs, you know. Neither of them are particularly wealthy. They basically seem like they only really have each other, but that also adds to their relationship, you know. They only have each other, but they also really understand each other because they've done the same thing seemingly through their whole lives. And both their characters are quite raw in that they have given everything in their lives to be where they are now. And, you know, was it all it was cracked up to be? What's going to happen now? You know, there's a scene where Jamie Lee Curtis says, do you think I've got a 501k? Do you think I've got like a retirement fund? You know, this is it for me. If this is over, this is it. There's no more paychecks, you know. So between two of them, very honest and enjoyable. She doesn't do a huge amount in the film, Jamie Lee Curtis' character, but she's enjoyable, and I think she's there to sort of reflect a different side of the acceptance of things coming to a close. This is the first role I've seen Dave Bautista in, so he's sort of the manager of the piece. It's the first role I've seen him in since he came out and said all that stuff about like he's going to lose all the muscle so that he can just be taken more seriously as an actor. The last serious role I saw Dave Bautista do was in Knock at the Cabin, and he's quite serious in that, but he's still absolutely huge. And I actually really liked him in this. I thought he played the serious role well. He's, like I said, he's the manager. No one particularly likes him in the film, but he's a bit of a twat, but he's honest, and that's kind of the line he has to take in the film. You know, he's a manager. Not everyone's always going to like him, but he has to do what he has to do, and he plays it really well. I really enjoyed it. And there is a bit of chemistry between his character and Jamie Lee Curtis, but also Pamela Anderson. You know, there's stuff that has obviously happened before the story that we're seeing, and it plays out really nicely between them. I enjoyed the relationship between the three. And Billy Lord is, I'm not going to go to it again too deep, but she is related to Anderson, and she's almost like the angel on her shoulder, kind of, or the devil, I guess you could say. She cannot understand why Anderson has given up essentially her whole life for this obsession. She can't understand why she has such an inability to let it go. She wants to connect, I think, with her, but Anderson's character just doesn't want to know. But Billy Lord is very good. She's emotional in the film. She was also in Ticket to Paradise, which I saw recently. Very talented, very enjoyable. Like I said, all the performances are good in it. It's well written as well. None of them are out of place in what they do, or none of their characters seem to do something extremely strange or whatever. You know, they're all on their track and they're all going in this direction. You know, no one's peeling off over here or going over here or doing whatever. It's a well written and well acted film. The last two roles are from Brenda Song and Kieran Shipka, who are also two showgirls in the film that are on the same show as her. Kieran Shipka, of the two, is probably slightly my favourite. She has a very emotional scene where she breaks down and talks about some of the darker side of it. So she has some problems with her family and they don't want to talk to her and things like that. And I feel it breaks down the illusion a little bit more in this film of, oh, the grandeurs of the stage and screen, and things are great and things are lovely, and money and fame and all the rest of it, you know. The film, as well as all the roles in it, really shatter the mirror and break the visage of all that's supposed to be great in Hollywood and Las Vegas. And Brenda is also supposed to represent how she will do anything for the money, you know. She's there to get her money. Shipka is there to, well, she's kind of confused, but she's also there to get the money. And Anderson, though she gets these job offers, is just so dead against what the new coming age is. She's obsessed with what has been and what's passed by her. And she wants to cling on to this memory of like the 80s when she was treated like a film star forever. And these two sort of young pups on the scene, they're like, no, we're just here to get our money, we'll do whatever, we'll dance. As long as we're on the stage and getting paid, they don't really care. So it shows a lot of different sides of both the positive and the negative of this world that I've never really seen a lot of. I mean, oddly, if you compare The Last Showgirl with Honora and the similarities between having to do whatever you can to get money and being good at it and things like that, you know, there's definitely some similarities there. But, yeah, no, it's a very good film. It feels very introspective to get to watch Pamela Anderson, who is known, her career is known for, you know, the likes of like Baywatch and being on Playboy magazines and things like that. For her to play a role where she is coming to the end of her tether, she's no longer considered what hot is, and she's not young or as desirable as she once was, and it's all sort of fading away into the past, and she's not the number one girl anymore. For her to play that role, it with her history and with her sort of typecasting, I mean, I can only imagine it's very difficult for her, but whoever cast her is a flipping genius as far as I'm concerned. I mean, she's a fantastic cast for the film. It's very introspective. I liken the film to sort of like watching the twilight years in someone's life. Like watching the death of an idea of someone, you know. She was this top draw dancer. She was it. And you're watching the twilight years, these evanescent final days of her on the stage and still getting to entertain people. But I just think for her to play something so introspective and so what must be inward facing for her, she must have felt this at some point. I think was very brave and you know, I think it should have got more of a nod than it did. All it was nominated was Jamie Lee Curtis got nominated for a BAFTA, and there's a Miley Cyrus song that got nominated for a Critics' Choice. So I think it's a shame it didn't get a little bit more recognition. It's a really good story. It's well acted. It's well written. Cinematography in it is lovely. You know, it'd be hard to go to Las Vegas and not get some lovely neon light shots, and you do get some fantastic shots in this film. So I'm going to give this film 4 stars. It's moving, it's honest, it's well acted, and I just really enjoyed it. If you can still get to see it, it's been out for quite a long time, but if there's any way you can still go and see it, definitely get to see it. It's 4 stars. And that's The Last Showgirl.
Doing a job that you don't really love, that's hard.
And the final film is...
I watch her, and I assume she watches me. I would do anything for you.
Would you?
Yes.
Black bag.
And of course that was Black Bag. So the 2 leads in this film are Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett. So you probably know Michael Fassbender. He did a lot of work for the Alien franchise, X-Men. He played Steve Jobs. And Cate Blanchett, I mean, Christ, Cate Blanchett is just one of the most famous actors of all time now. But anyway, so the 2 of them play these 2 agents who work for this sort of mysterious, I'm going to just assume they're basically like MI6, MI5 or whatever. But it's a company with a lot of power and influence over the world. Michael Fassbender plays George, whose life becomes suddenly quite complicated when he finds out, and he's given the task to find out who has stolen this very important, you don't really know, but someone has stolen something that doesn't belong to them, and they're going to fence it off, basically. And the film predicates around, is it going to work? Is it not? Will he pull it off? Will he find out who it is or not? And it goes on from there.
You got a breach.
What did you do? One of our people stole something.
Something extremely valuable.
You cannot imagine the damage. Find the leak.
First thing I want to say is it's the closest thing, and I am sad about this actually, it's the closest thing we're ever going to get to see to Michael Fassbender playing James Bond. And it's only after seeing this film that I suddenly thought, oh man, do you know what? He actually would make a very good Bond. You know, he's quiet, he's very smart. On top of this, he's just a fantastic actor anyway, you know. I think he is one of the most sort of criminally overlooked and underrated actors. He really is fantastic. He's great in this role, but he's suave, he's tall, he's dark, you know. He fits all the criteria for being a fantastic Bond. And you do get to see in this film. He's not as charismatic as Bond usually is, but he's very well thought out. He's methodical. He's like one step ahead. He always has the answer to every question. And his performance in this makes you want to go and become spy again. I mean, I remember watching Skyfall and wanting to come out and just be like, yeah, I'm going to go and shoot someone and maybe not shoot someone, but like foil a terrorist attack, you know. And you watch this and you think, my God, you know, if we could just dream about for a second having Michael Fassbender as our next Bond, I mean, what a world that would be. He is just really enjoyable on the screen. Like I said, he's got an answer for everything, and his method is like kind of like watching an episode of Columbo. It's really enjoyable, and he was just very, very well cast for this role. Cate Blanchett, as I've already mentioned, plays his wife, and she is also an agent at this mysterious company. She's fantastic in the film. I've been somewhat undecided on Cate Blanchett before, but I think she's won me round on this role, which I'm sure she's really happy to hear about. You know, well done, Kate, you've got me. She plays the more emotional and careless of the two. She's still very agenty, but of the two of them, Michael Fassbender is like OCD, and she's sort of like, yeah, whatever, you know, we're just going to roll with it. So she's slightly more careless and a bit wilder than he is. But throughout her role, you cannot get a single beat or understand what she's doing, where she's going. You understand what her motivations are. Obviously, it's her job and all the rest of it, but you can't understand what she's doing. She's just sort of like watching an enigma this whole film. She's really, really enjoyable.
I can feel when you're watching me.
Sorry.
I like it.
And you, like I said, you can't decode what she's doing, but you can't decode the whole film right till the end, which was my biggest bonus for this film. A lot of times when I watch sort of mysteries or action films, they're usually pretty predictable, or at least you can figure them out with not a lot of thought, you know. But I honestly, for this film, it kept me guessing right till the last turn, and I was really pleased about that. I thought the trailer made it look like everything was, you know, splayed out for you, and it was going to be like Allied. If you've seen Allied, you'll know exactly what I mean. But it doesn't, and there's a lot more to it, and it does keep you guessing, and it keeps you engaged throughout the whole film. It was really, really good, and it's under an hour and 30. It's an hour and 33 minutes of the actual, you know, with minus the credits, it's under an hour and a half, and it was really, really good for like a short sort of crime mystery thriller. It's very, very good. So there are 5 other roles alongside Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender. Tom Burke, Marissa Abela, Ray-Jean Page, and Pierce Brosnan. So they make up the rest of the cast. Pierce Brosnan is in probably 5 or 6 scenes. He is the head of the big, scary, you know, MI6 mystery organisation. He's very good in it. He just doesn't have a huge amount to do with the film, really. He's just sort of the surly boss man who's like, yeah, report to me and do this and do that. So, you know, he looks fantastic in the film. My God, the selection of suits in this film, wow. I mean, they have a Taylor dribbling, seriously. The costume design in this film was really, really excellent. You know, it looks like something that's been made from Kingsman. You know, the suit design was fantastic, but, you know, he doesn't have a huge amount of involvement in the film, but like I said, he's the boss man that everyone reports to. Everyone else is just sort of like an agent, or they're also involved with to some other degree with the company. But like I said, all good, and they all add to the on-screen ambience and confusion and the building of the mystery the whole way through. And I did leave one name out. Naomi Harris is in this film. She plays the therapist for the company. Hold on to your hats for this one. She also plays Moneypenny in Bond. So I thought before I was like, God, I really recognise her. And before I got it, I was thinking Fassbender would be great as Bond. And there you have Fassbender and Moneypenny both in the same film. She was very, very good, actually. She would probably be the only person from sort of the side cast that I would really give any praise to. She's good in Moneypenny. She was good in this. There's a really awful and awkward scene where everyone sat around having dinner, where everyone just turns on each other like wild dogs. And they're all just equally awful to each other. And that's probably the best bit of acting we get to see from the cast as a whole. This dinner scene that's probably 20 minutes in. Very, very good. So overall, the film is just utterly mysterious. It doesn't give you an inch to work out what's going on. And it's kind of like riding on a surfboard. You know, the first couple of times you get on and you fall off and you get on and you fall off. And then right at the end, you finally line up a wave and you get on a surfboard and you're going and you still fall off, but you enjoyed it anyway. It's a weird analogy, but it's the one I'm going with. It's a very, very good film. Like I said, 2 films this week under an hour and a half, and Black Bag is definitely 4 stars. It's just really well acted. It's an interesting story. It's an original story, and for a mystery film, you genuinely can't tell what's going on.
Would you kill for me, George? Would you?
So that wraps it up for another episode. If you haven't found the link is between Marching Powder and The Last Showgirl. Tenuous link, here we go. The link between them is that both of the main roles in the film are going extinct. So Danny Dyer's character and Pamela Anderson's character are both coming to the end of their days. You know, Jack's character's, his days are numbered. He can't keep doing the same thing anymore. No one wants him around. And Pamela Anderson's character, no one wants her around anymore. She's not it anymore. She's not the top dog. And both of them are in the exact same boat. Neither of them are the number one, the bee's knees anymore. They can't do what they've been doing their whole lives, and they're facing a new reality they've never had to before. So that was my tenuous link between Marching Powder and Showgirl. If you think it's there, I think it's there at least. But that's, like I said, another episode done. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching all the episodes up until now and for listening to me waffle on about films. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I love getting to go to the cinema this much to give you lovely people all the reviews you so rightly deserve. So thank you so much for watching. That's episode 6 of AJ Reviews. Hi guys, if you enjoyed watching, please drop me a subscribe down below, leave a like and a comment. If you look up AJ Reviews 101 on Instagram, drop me a follow on there, and the letterbox is just the same. That's where I leave all my longer reviews. Thank you very much for watching.